Hello, hello, wonderful listeners, and welcome back to this week's episode. This week's episode is all about curiosity. In recent topics that we've brought up, curiosity has been like an under theme, if you will. And so now, um, by virtue of Felicia Wong bringing it to our awareness, that curiosity can absolutely be an episode. So here we are. So curiosity, my friends, curiosity. Welcome back to another episode of Joy, the Journey of You podcast. We're your hosts, Devin and Chris, and we're here for joy.
This podcast is your permission slip to reconnect to your inherent joy and to embrace it.
Let's fill up the cosmic joy pot together as we dive in to today's episode. Here's the whole central core of this theme of curiosity is that curiosity keeps us in an open state of innocence and receptivity. And it's in that open state of receptivity and innocence that allows us to be in the unknown and to allow the present moment to unfold before us. So in a functional state with being in the unknown is that it's opportunity. Curiosity allows for the opportunity for the present moment to unfold in ways that we don't know. And then conversely, when not being in curiosity, usually what we're doing is we're thinking we know how it is, we're assuming we know how it is, and we're projecting onto an experience or a person. And we're just not in the present moment receiving what's actually happening. And so the antithesis of curiosity is more of, I already know what's going on, I know what to expect, and essentially we end up blocking the present moment experience. And so, yeah, so in my life, I definitely have experience with this. Oh my goodness, I bet you do too. In my survival mode, in my ego, basically, is that dysfunctionally, right? Is I'm gonna judge and assume I already know how things are gonna go. So if there's an event taking place, or even maybe a podcast or a masterclass that I'm teaching, if I'm in my ego is gonna assume. It knows how it is. It's like nobody's going to show up, or it's going to be poor, or this, that, and the other. And it will just make these assumptions on what the experience will be like. And oftentimes those are going to be negative. And that's based off the past. So honestly, not being in curiosity is when we're in that state of, I think I know how it is, and I'm assuming these things are, and we're basically judging, is in my experience in the past, what that did is I end up creating experiences and having experiences that meet that judgment, because that's what I'm assuming it is, and that's how it ends up being. When I started to really learn and lean into curiosity and suspending my judgment, and at least at the very least, like keep it at bay for a moment, what then started happening is that I'm more in a receptive state and kind of like removed back from the experience and allowing the moments to unfurl, and allowing myself to be surprised and be in the joy of those surprises, of those moments. And having things be exciting and unknown, and not knowing what to expect, and getting to experience that unexpectedness from a very like childlike innocent state of like, oh, look at what happens when I suspend that judgment and stay curious. And so I have oftentimes really put that as a very forefront intention of just stay curious, just stay curious. And so that this is my invitation to you this week is for us to lean into curiosity. And so if we were to play with a scenario right now, I'm sure that you could already imagine a person or a scenario that's new. So imagine you're going to meet somebody new, or you're going to go to a new place and you don't know what to expect. And so just notice what would happen and what happens inside of you, what you start assuming. What thoughts, what feelings, what assumptions, what beliefs are already starting to form when you just think about going and meeting this new person or going to this new place. And you'll notice a dialogue for yourself, right? So what I hear in this, even just an imaginary scenario, what I hear for myself right now is, are they going to be in a good mood? What do I have to, what should I wear? What should I be doing? How do I need to show up? Right? There's a lot of mental constructs and a lot of energy being put into how do I show up, and basically starting to like real control of the scenario. So what's it for you? What's it for you that you're noticing when you go into this imaginary scenario of meeting somebody new or going to a new place? And then now imagine that you intentionally, before even going into that experience, imagined and intended to be curious about it. Before you even go there, what shifts about how you even look at the scenario before you? Yeah, for me, basically, as I start to go into, I wonder what our conversation will be like. I wonder what's going on with them. I wonder what I'll learn from them. I wonder what this will be like. I wonder, right? It's so much more of like a wondering, and I actually get excited to go there to like go meet this person. So what happens for you when you shift into curiosity and have that intention of I'm going to come in with being curious? What changes for you? What changes when you approach with curiosity and have this specific intention to be curious about something? And let me know, right? So tell us in the comments, share with a friend, but like really log and register what really changes for you when you have intentionality about being curious. And then what would happen if you continue to do that? What would happen if for the rest of today or the rest of this week that you intended that you'd like to approach your day with a little bit more curiosity? And what would happen? That's what I would really love to hear, you guys. I would love to hear that if you wanted to, right? Like if you're leaning into this, which I really hope you are, you're listening for a reason, is to what would happen if I went through just start with one day. What if I went through this day with this intention of curiosity? And then moment to moment, really staying in that curiosity and letting the day unfold. What would happen? What would your day be like? So try it out. Try it out. Let us know. You can comment on any of the platforms that we're on: YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all the things, or you can email us at journeyofyoupodcast.com at Gmail, journeyofyoupodcast@gmail.com, and let us know what changes in your life and your day when you intend to live with greater curiosity. And so this, my friends, is the invitation to this. And I I I got to tell you, like one on one here is that for me, it's a constant reorientation to curiosity for me because I definitely have my ego assuming it knows how it is. And so don't be surprised. And please don't beat yourself up if you find that you're noticing how often you judge or how often you assume. That's actually even more reason to having more intentionality and more energy around being curious in your life. Because if you notice that you have a tendency to be in judgment, then wouldn't it be great to have more of that energy and intention around being curious so that you can break out of that, so you don't continue those habitual patterns. And so my habitual pattern of judgment and believing I know how it is definitely a default mode, and I have to be very intentional around being curious because um, that's the practice, honestly, you guys. That's the practice, right? So, like this week, for instance, right, is that it was not true for Chris to record, and she wasn't feeling well. And if I were to be in judgment about that, I could approach this in one way. Or if I'm just curious about what is it about this week for me to be recording on my own, and in this moment, what's really obvious to me about that, if I stay in that curiosity, is it really just allows for things to not have to be so rigid and regimented, right? Is that in this curiosity is that for me right now, it's like what's so obvious is that life can be in flow and that things can happen and it doesn't have to be one way. And that's exactly what my ego loves, is my ego loves to believe it has to be one way. And I bet yours does too. And so if you notice that in yourself, this is really the call to curiosity, my friends. Here's the call to curiosity. And may you pick up, may you answer, and may you see what gifts curiosity has for you. And if nothing else, it comes to me to share. If nothing else, if you can watch the curiosity of a child, if you can't find it within yourself, or if you're not quite ready to answer the call to curiosity, is just watch children, watch the curiosity that they have as they are learning new things and discovering the world. And that's really what we're leaning back into, you guys, is that when we answer the call to curiosity, we're answering the call back to our childlike parts of us that functionally want to come into life from a place of fun and play and curiosity. And if that's not a damn good reason, I don't know what is. So how about more play in your life? How about more more fun. And so this is your bridge to that. Your bridge to more fun, play, and joy in life is definitely leaning into this call for curiosity. So, will you answer? Will you let us know? I hope you do. It's your choice, and I'm curious to know what happens. So until then, until the next episode, here's to you and your joyful life. Lots of love.